Welcome to part 3, where Elias went. Before starting this video, please subscribe and hit the bell button. Thank you. Elias Monroe did not emerge into freedom the way men imagine it. There was no shore waiting with open arms, no sunrise breaking chains. When the fog finally released him, he collapsed onto cold stone, coughing water and silence from his lungs. The world around him was colorless, as if dawn itself had forgotten this place. He lay there for what felt like an eternity before a terrifying realization crept in. The fog had not followed him. The bay was gone. Elias pushed himself up and turned slowly. Behind him, cliffs blackened by age rose into the sky. Ahead, a narrow road was carved directly into the rock, lit by strange lanterns that burned without any flame. The air carried the scent of salt and old, forgotten memories. As he stood there, a man approached him, an old ferryman pushing an empty cart. "You crossed," the man said, his voice flat, without a hint of surprise. "Crossed where?" Elias asked, his own voice raspy. "Where those who are carried by love arrive." Elias remembered Clara's voice, how it faded as the fog took him. The crushing weight in his chest wasn't water, it was loss. The ferryman gestured toward the road with a weathered hand. "Walk," he instructed. "Do not look back. Those who turn around return to the fog." So, Elias walked. The road led him to a town that seemed untouched by time. People moved through the streets quietly, their faces both familiar and impossible to place. Some wore clothes from decades past, while others looked as if they had just arrived. None of them smiled. He soon understood why. These were not the dead, they were the unfinished. Men who had escaped execution but not their fate. Women who vanished before they could say goodbye. Lovers torn apart by war, prison, or circumstance. They had all been carried somewhere else, saved, in a way, but never truly released. At night, Elias dreamed of Clara. She was always standing in the fog, watching him from a distance that felt both vast and impossibly close. She never spoke. She only sang. Days turned into what might have been years. Time didn't behave properly there. Elias found work repairing boats that would never sail and writing letters that would never leave the town. The ferryman returned often, his eyes holding a quiet pity as he watched Elias. One evening, Elias finally asked the question that had been burning inside him. "Can I go back?" The ferryman simply shook his head, not in body, but in voice. Elias whispered, a desperate hope flickering within him. The old man studied him for a long moment. "That depends. Are you willing to remember forever?" Elias understood then. This wasn't freedom. It was exile. On the anniversary of his disappearance, he climbed the cliffs. At the edge of the town, as if summoned, the fog rose from nowhere, surrounding him like an old, familiar friend. And then he sang, not to be heard, but to be found. Back across the bay, on nights thick with mist, a man's voice began to answer Clara's lonely song. Guards on patrol would feel a sudden, unexplainable sorrow. Lovers walking along the shore held hands a little tighter. Some prisoners wept in their cells without knowing why. Elias Monroe never returned to the world of men. But he never truly vanished either. Officer Daniel Hart's final note discovered years after his retirement. Read, I no longer believe Monroe escaped Alcatraz. I believe he escaped time. And so the story ends exactly where it began in Fog, in song, and in a love that refused to obey walls, water, or even death itself. Because some places are not prisons, they are waiting rooms, and not all who disappear are lost. Some are simply remembered elsewhere. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more.